we're back. Okay, so for this update, we're heading to the Netherworld. Just a lovely place.
Sorry about that. I can't let myself be captured this time. Oh no, is something wrong?
Grandpa, I cannot take you to the Netherworld.
Yeah, that'd be a fair bet, because if you get captured there, yeah, you're done. No, you're done. The Netherworld sucks.
The Puka's curse, huh? I'll never return to my human form.
Haha, suck it.
What in heavens has he done to me?
Beldor, you shall lead me to the Netherworld.
I mean,
Fine.
it's not like he really has much of a choice. He's a frickin' rabbit now.
Have no fear. I shall make sure that he does not escape.
Did you go to Titania? My cousin told me you did.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was actually pretty awful. Go figure. Titania is actually pretty shitty this time of year. Mainly due to the sewer dragon. Yeah, and asshole wizards.
Fight to the death, with honor and pride for my country.
Thank you, Unicorn Nolan North.
But my paladin troops have succumbed to the Demon Lord's cipher. If I attack without a sound battle plan, it will be difficult.
Nah, you'll be fine, Nolan North. You're Nolan North.
Ingwe? I'm so stupid. He's already a human.
Yeah, it's just a frog. A very wet frog, by the way, who's squinting. Yeah, it turned out the frog was Ingwe. Who would have guessed, except for the fact that he's voiced by Liam O'Brien.
We are now in the realm of the Queen of the Dead. This is the Netherworld. If this is all you want, let me go now.
Nah.
Now do you understand how that dragon felt? I'll have you accompany me until we find Braum.
But I don't want to.
Melvin ordered me to bring him here. That is all.
And we should believe you because...
Why not ask that spirit over there?
Don't take your eyes off him.
What?
Not for a second.
Would it respond to me?
Don't take your eyes off him.
Can I ask a question?
And you did.
Do you know of Braum, the blacksmith who was brought here? Nothing.
In the palace,
Don't take your eyes off him.
dwarf designs jeweled weapons. The queen is keeping
There he goes. He's moving.
Thank
And
you.
he's gone.
It seems Braum is safe.
And Beldor's gone.
Beldor?
Good job. Why would you trust him to stay still?
I'm not frightened. I can do this alone.
It's not like he was going to be helpful in a fight. He doesn't even like you. But his hands are tied, so he's pretty much dead.
And strut around where the Holly are lurking.
Yeah, you're pretty much dead. You are dead.
If they ever find me.
Which they will. There's one right now.
It seems that there have been many
Whoopsie.
wandering the abyss of death lately.
Uh-oh.
These cursed souls also enter the Queen's realm without fear.
Yeah, without fear. How dare. Oof. Shit. Yeah, Norse mythology ain't nothing to fuck with. Whoo. Whoo, they go rough. They go rough. It ain't great in the Netherworld. Fortunately, if media has taught me anything, the best way to deal with the undead is with a gun. Which is essentially what we have. It's just a gun. It's just a gun. It's just a gun. Although, like, shouldn't the Netherworld be called, like, Hell with one L? I'm pretty sure they called it that at one point, but it's so weird. And then, isn't also the ruler of Hell also known as Hel? Because she's a daughter of Loki? And speaking of which, I'm not entirely up to date with my Norse mythology, but I know that Loki's 3 kids are more or less responsible for the entirety of Ragnarok, aka the Norse mythology Apocalypse, not the super cool Marvel Thor Ragnarok movie. Although there is a bit of a Ragnarok in there. But anyway, no, it's like somehow Loki had 3 kids. I'm not sure with who, or if he just willed them into being. But one of them was Fenrir, the giant wolf, my favorite. There was Jormungandr, the giant world snake. And then there was Hel, who was the most non-animalistic one of the bunch, although I think she was a skeleton lady. I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure that's what the Queen of the Netherworld is based off of, but we might see those other 2 later on. In fact, I think we might have seen one of them already. Not gonna say which one it was, but hey, maybe we'll get more of a definitive proof here later on. But yeah, basically what happens with Ragnarok, for those of you who are not familiar with Norse mythology, yeah, it's the end of the world. It is the end of the world. I'm not entirely familiar with the whole grand scheme of the thing, but I do know some of the big notes here. Like, number 1, with Fenrir is gonna go ahead and eat Odin, which is kinda like, it's a bad thing. It's a bad time. And the one who ends up putting him down, I think, is Tyr, the guy who lost an arm while he was trying to bind Fenrir's mouth. Or maybe it's not Tyr, maybe it's another... I know Tyr was responsible for binding Fenrir's mouth, and then Fenrir was all like, no, dude, you can't do that. Look, you can put any kind of chains and shit on my mouth if you want, but the second I taste magic, I'm ripping your frickin' arm off. And Tyr was like, okay, sure. And then he totally put magic on Fenrir's mouth, and then Fenrir just bit Tyr's hand off. That's why there's a lot of interpretations with him, like, with only one arm. In fact, I think that's also the same Tyr in D&D. Anyway. Then moving on, we have, I forget who exactly it is that ends up beating Fenrir. I want to say it's Tyr, but I'm probably wrong. The next one is Jormungandr. This one's pretty famous, especially if you played the new God of War game. Yeah, Jormungandr is the giant world serpent, who is supposed to have a climactic duel with Thor on the day of Ragnarok. And they more or less both kill each other. It's kind of a draw. Thor just beats the shit out of Jormungandr. Like a lot. Just beats the shit out of him. But Jormungandr, being a giant snake, poisons him. Manages to get one good bite on him and is like, oh no. Done. And then for Hel, I don't know that much about what she does. I'm pretty sure it's just like, whenever Ragnarok kicks off, it's more or less, hey, now the underworld is free game! Everybody come on out, and just zombies. Zombies everywhere. That's generally what I see happening for a lot of these Lords of the Dead. Again, I'm probably not entirely accurate with my retelling of Ragnarok, but those are some of the points that happen in that story. It's actually kind of touched upon in Boktai, or Lunar Nights is the DS game that took place after Boktai. That's the Hideo Kojima game that you played outside in the sunlight. Very unique, very interesting. Never played the entire series myself. I did play Lunar Nights, the DS one, which is weird because in the US version, they're 2 completely different characters who have nothing really to do with the original cast, except for like a few little nods here and there, I'm pretty sure. But in the Japanese version of the game, no, they're the same characters. They're the same characters. They're still, where the main characters I think are Django and Sabata. And speaking of references, we just keep going down the whole reference hole here. Apparently in Boktai, Kojima was just super into that spaghetti western Django, because that's straight up just what he named the main character from Boktai after. He named him after Django, that really cool spaghetti western starring Franco Nero, the guy who drags a freaking coffin around with him. Oh, it's great. And it has that really awesome theme that they played in Django Unchained. I love it. Very little, like, a couple degrees of separation between this and frickin' Django Unchained, but hey, you can make the connection. You can make the connection. okay, Mercedes can get super high chain combos on these Oogie Boogie looking guys just by shooting like rapid fire. Oh, it's great. It's so satisfying. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. Easy triple digits. Easy triple digits. No effort. No effort. But they are huge damage sponges. They are colossal damage sponges. You know, actually, to kind of, again, bring up other video games, these monsters that have all the like worms and stuff coming out of their bodies, they actually kind of remind me of a boss from the Final Fantasy series, one that pops up in FF12 to be specific, and I guess by extension Final Fantasy Tactics. And that's, I'm gonna butcher this name. Chuchulain or Cuchulain. I don't know how to pronounce this name. It's the weird thing. It's like the big green one with the big old smile who like oozes poison out of his body. That guy. These guys look really similar to him. Speaking of which, that name just seems a little odd because it's a Celtic name and it sounds very similar to actual Chuchulain. I don't know if they're spelled the exact same, but it's very similar. Which I have no idea where the connection between those two are, because the actual Celtic hero of Chuchulain, that's how I'm going to pronounce it. You know, that guy, you know, if you're familiar with the Fate series, it's Lancer. It's the guy in the blue bodysuit. I don't keep up with the Fate series. I'm sure he has a different name here and there, or he has a different class in the different shows. I don't know. But that whole thing is, the guy is the owner of the Gay Bolg. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's the spear. It's the really cool spear that pierces you through the heart. And that story from mythology is another pretty interesting one. It's one that I really like. Again, I haven't heard the entire myth, but from what I have heard, it's pretty interesting. You know, this guy goes up and I think he runs into some guard dogs of this mansion. Again, I am bastardizing the hell out of the myth, so please forgive any inaccuracies. I just know kind of like a few main points here and there. The guy goes up to this, we'll call it a manor or a castle or whatever, and there's this big-ass dog, a huge guard dog. And what happens is, for some reason, I guess he was there to, like, meet up with somebody. He ends up getting into a fight with the dog, and then he ends up killing it. You know what? Actually, I'm going to look up the myth so I don't bastardize it too much. Give me a second. Okay. So here's how it happened, and this actually has something to do with the SMT series, which is another Atlas game, so it's fine. All right, in those games, there's a certain demon or spirit called Satanta, and it's usually a guy who has like a really big old coat that covers up his mouth. What happened was, this is how his story was. He went against the guard dog of Kulan, and he killed it in self-defense. And this dude felt so much shame and sadness because he basically took away this man's guard dog, his dog. And the guy had other dogs, but the time being he was like, look, how about I just serve as your guard dog, essentially, until, you know, these dogs grow up to be a proper age. And then he did. And the guy was a huge badass. And he had this really awesome spear called the Gay Bolg. That's probably not how it's pronounced. That's how I read it. But yeah, no, it was made from a like horrifying sea monster. And if it stuck you, you're basically dead. You're basically dead. It's not great. You're basically dead. Honestly, I'd probably play a game about Celtic mythology because I find it fascinating. If only just from that one story. Games about mythology, I very much appreciate. Anything about mythology, it's always just interesting stories. Because I'm a child and I like story time. That was always my favorite part of like any English class. Oh, do we get to list about mythology? Oh boy, that sounds really fun. I love those tales. I love those kind of stories. But we always hear about Greek mythology. It's always Greek mythology. Which is fine, but you know, once you hear one story about Zeus being an asshole, you kind of heard them all. Yeah, it's pretty creative of how dickish and how cartoonishly, like, petty and evil Zeus and the other Greek gods can be at times. But yeah, no. Sometimes you want to see something different, you know? I get it. Yeah, no. They made a whole Disney movie about him and a whole bunch of other movies and literature and stuff can be dated back to the Greeks. Cool. But come on. Honestly, my favorite Greek god was Hermes. As far as I remember, he was a prankster, but he wasn't like a super crazy sex pervert who, well, as far as the other Greek gods were concerned, you know, who turned into a cow or a swan or fucking anything and just went to go back on human girls. As far as I know, I think what he did when he was younger was just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and steal Apollo's flock. You know, just for shits and giggles. Whatever. That sounds fun. And he does that. And then for some reason, and then after doing that, like, after evading Apollo, Apollo's all like, yo, alright, that's cool. That's cool. Tell you what, you hook me up with that instrument, and we'll call it even. We'll call it even, bro. And then friggin' Hermes did it. He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then Hermes was just, I don't know. Hermes is cool. I like him. And he's also the, like, messenger god. He like, runs down and he's able to go through he's able to go to Hades and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I like him. And also the staff that he carries. Hey, it's the Caduceus staff. It's the staff of medicine. So, you know, that's cool. I like it. Hermes is a pretty cool guy. I like him. But yeah, anyway, the Netherworld is pretty much the same. This place is still creepy as shit.
Will not hand over my treasure. Eh? Why didn't you say you had money? My greed is the very reason I'm down here, but I do not.
I love being greedy. It's so cool. Shrimp Doria. Sure, let's get some more shrimp. Mars Bangle is pretty good, but we already got one. Just more attack power. Just double down on all the power. Just never stop. Never stop. Just keep on adding on to your strength. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Of course it does. It's Vanillaware food. Again, I'm just saying, if Vanillaware released a cookbook, even as somebody who does not cook recreationally, I would buy it. I would buy that cookbook. And the food I would make in comparison to this would look awful. It would look awful in comparison to the artwork. Because like, there is an entire division of Vanillaware staff that's just dedicated to making food look delicious. Just making the most sumptuous and savory meals. Oh my goodness. Somebody whose whole job is to make the player hungry. Like, that was always a thing. That was always a thing about watching cartoons as a kid. Because sometimes you'd see meals prepared, like, okay, let's take a very basic example. Tom and Jerry. Even meals that were not prepared. Like, when they just straight up give a raw piece of, like, meat to a dog. It still looked good. It still looked so tasty. That you kind of are like, oh yeah, I want that. I want that. Don't cook it. It doesn't look good if you cook it. Look at that. It's all red and juicy and it's got a big old bone in it. That looks so tasty. I want that. I'm sure... I wouldn't be surprised if some kids, like, ate raw meat that looked like the freaking cartoon meat and just decided, yeah, no, this is good. Oh, God. And destroyed the inner lining of their stomachs. And got so many diseases. Be awful, but still look tasty. In fact, there's like a bunch of anime. There's a bunch of anime and cartoons that are based solely on making food look good. There's that Food Wars anime, otherwise known as the food porn anime. That's what it is. That's what it is. I haven't watched that show, but I've seen some clips of like, oh, they made this one thing called dinosaur meat, caveman meat. Like, they just put a big ass bone through this, like, they put this big ass bone through all this other meat and, like, stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure on, like, cooking terms and whatnot, but it looked good. And it was an appetizer! It was an appetizer! And when people eat the food in Food Wars, it's just immediately the most, it's a sense of bliss and euphoria in their face, like, oh God, the food's so good. It's actually a little uncomfortable. It's actually a little uncomfortable that people are getting this hot and bothered over, like, eating. I mean, I guess it makes sense, like that. I guess that is a fetish, but still. Anyway, I'm not sure chicken or egg, but someone inspired somebody with making damn good looking food and just decided to put it here. Like, I don't know. Somewhere along the line, somebody had that mission statement. I want to make the most delicious looking video game food that's ever been made. Yeah. It's hard for me to think of another video game series. It's hard for me to think of another video game that makes food look this good. I'm sure I'll hear something about it. I'm sure. Oh, but you know what I can kind of comment on? Kingdom Hearts 3 has a cooking mechanic, because of course it does. Because of course a lot of video games have cooking mechanics. But it's based on Ratatouille. Now I get it, okay, Ratatouille is a Pixar movie, that's fine. You gotta work in the cooking mechanic, that makes sense, fine, whatever. You know, that's the cooking minigame, whatever. But it really just boils down to like Sora cracking one egg, or cutting up a few onions, or like throwing some pepper into a pan or something like that. And it instantly makes all the food from Ratatouille just from one step. Bullshit. Bullshit, I say. Actually, now I've just thought of a game that has some really good looking food. And it's from Square Enix. It's Final Fantasy 15. Hey, skill link, by the way. Say what you want about the game. The food looked good. Ignis was doing his damn job. I've come up with a new recipe. It's so good. So good. And of course, in that game, they push Cup Noodle like nobody's business. Cup Noodle is essentially mana from heaven. Let's see. Let's go ground attack. May as well. Air superiority, bitch. Full power. Got some knockback to this too. We officially have air superiority, even more so than we did before. So what exactly do you guys do besides just hold giant candelabras? Is that all you do? Are you just background elements? Whatever. How you spend your afterlife is not my business. You do you. Anyway, let's go get another Phozon Prism. These would make for some horrifying D&D monsters. I'm pretty sure they might actually be a D&D monster. I'm not sure which one. I'm pretty sure this and Dragon's Crown can't easily be called the D&D video games besides the actual D&D video games. Alright, so what do we get? We got Banshee Call. Summon a small sprite that fires ricocheting magic bullets for a time. Even more options! Why not? Just litter the field with bullets. Over and over again. Who cares? Just shoot them. Shoot everything. We're about to have a boss. I'm pretty sure the Miracle Fruit's more or less like the elixir, and it serves more purpose than just, you know, increasing your maximum health, but whatever. Not a big deal. Anyway, what do you got?
I have poison if you want. Unfortunately, I do not have a blade to coat with it.
More shrimp, huh? Alright. No. Yeah, we got all the treasure here anyway. Let's move on. Look at all these crystals. There's so many of them. Why does she care if, like, a few... There's so many crystals here. I guess I could see somebody getting a little greedy and wanting to grab some. Ooh. I'm not a big fish fan, but damn. That kind of makes me want some salmon. Although salmon is pretty tasty, I had to say. I say I'm not a big fish fan, but salmon's pretty good. Halibut's not bad either. I'm not opposed to seafood, but a lot of fish is just kind of like, eh. But you know what? Some of it's pretty good. Like I said, salmon and halibut are pretty good. I liked it last time I've had it. Personally, I'm more fond of crab. Crab is tasty. Or shrimp. Shrimp is also good. Shrimp is very good. Crawfish ain't bad either. And lobster's not too bad. It's not bad. Anyway, enough about food. Let's go fight a boss. I wonder who it's gonna be in the Netherworld. Hey, it's Braum.
Oh, an illusion. Queen Mercedes, 'tis you.
'Tis indeed.
I'm glad I found you.
Were you sent here too? Didn't you become queen after defeating Melvin's rebellion?
I did.
Braum, I came here to rescue you.
Let's get out of here.
What in blazes? The queen came for me?
Aww.
I cannot thank you enough.
I need your help. Now come, follow me.
I need your help to make even more weapons. Okay, now don't get too far away from me. The last guy who did ended up dead. Oh boy.
The insects are restless. You shall not escape, Brom. You will continue to serve me by crafting your wonderful jewelry. That is what your life is for.
But wait, you're the queen of the undead, so what life are you talking about? Do you mean his unlife? Wait, he's not dead though. Wait, what happens if he die? You know, this brings up so many questions.
Speak with you.
What happens if Braum dies down here? Is it double dead or... I don't know.
This is where human souls are destined to rest. This place means nothing for you fairies who live like the mist.
What does that mean? Apparently fairies turned back into like trees or some kind of foliage.
Crush the bugs who have crawled in here.
I guess talking to you is out of the question.
Yeah, no. Yeah, peace was never an option. Let's just shoot the Queen of the Dead. This'll go well. Anyway, it's Odin again. Let's give her a little bit of the old, yeah. How do you like that? How do you like the flash shot? Or the banshee call? Just shoot everything at her. Doesn't matter. Just hammer in. Just blast. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the ticket. I don't know what you're oh my goodness. What is okay, if there's one thing, okay, I have to make a comment on this. I'm sure it's probably very obvious. Okay, besides making delicious looking food, Vanillaware has a habit with female character designs. Now, I have no issue with them. However, some of them don't make sense to me. For example, how strong is that dress? How strong? It seems like it's going above and beyond the Call of Duty. I'm not entirely sure. Some of these outfits don't make sense. Again, I don't mind them. They are fine to me. I like these character designs. But some of them I'm not, you know what? It's mythology. You can get away with a lot of shit in mythology. Doesn't matter. Either way, fight's almost over. In fact, yes it is. It's done now. Bye-bye, Odette. Become a regular skeleton now. All problems can be solved with gun. Oh no.
How dare you shoot that sickening red jewel?
What's the difference with red? Is red better?
What is happening? King Galen is upset. Why is he acting up now?
I don't know, probably because shit's going bad in Titania.
Tie him down. Come, Arya. Don't waste your time on that one.
Yes, let them escape, even though I just said I wanted to keep Braum down here to make jewelry. Leave them be.
I don't know what just happened, but I think we're safe.
This place sucks. Let's leave. Back at the palace.
You want me to create another cipher?
Yes.
Are you asking me to forge another Leifthrasir?
No.
I'm sorry. Even if it is the Queen's command, I cannot perform this task.
No, Brahm. You can do this without selling a soul to the Halya.
That's good.
'Tis impossible. I cannot create a cipher as enormous as the Baylor.
I don't think we want you to.
It doesn't need to be large. As long as it can compete with the Demon Lord's Baylor.
I cannot create a cipher as powerful and destructive as the Baylor, but
But
a cipher that is able to break the Baylor itself.
now that sounds cool.
A different design.
And well, that's going to do it for this update. But the next update, hey,
Let's try.
let's go ahead and try getting that new cipher, huh? Hey, new foes on prison. What do we get? Unlimited ammo. We got Snake's bandana. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it for this update. In the next update, we're going to get that new cipher. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next update. Till then, see ya.